would you be able to dive in kind of and talk about that trophy incident, that 200 freestyle final? Obviously, you're going into the A final at NCAAs, which means you are one of the top 8 swimmers in the country. That's like mind-boggling in itself, but this is all overshadowed per se by Lia Thomas being in that heat. Talk me through that night.
Yeah. So obviously it's a bit of a defeating feeling before you even swim. But anyways, we swam. I looked up at the board, and before I honestly even looked at what time I went or what place I went, I was so curious, who won, especially after watching Thomas the night before win a national title. And so I looked at the board and I saw Thomas had a 5, which indicated 5th, and I was really surprised. And then I looked at my own name and I saw a 5 by my name as well. And so I kind of look at my teammates for reassurance, like, did we really just tie? And all their jaws were on the floor, especially considering they knew how I felt about the situation already. And so they were kind of like, oh no, what's about to happen? And so in swimming, ties are fairly rare, especially in a longer distance like a 200. And so they don't account for that in terms of the trophies. And so we go behind the podium where they're distributing those, and the official says to me, he's like, great swim. We're going to give Thomas the trophy. Yours will come in the mail. You can pose with the 6th place trophy. And so at the time, I'm relatively understanding because I know, they didn't account for a tie. And so I was like, okay, but can I ask you, why you're adamant on Thomas holding the trophy? And he looked at me and said, well, we're just doing this in chronological order. And so I was like, at this point, it hit me. And I'm like, what are we being chronological about? Because we tied. So can you tell me what we're being chronological about? And he was like, well, we need Thomas to hold it for photo purposes. Yours will come in the mail. Nice job. And so at this point that's when I realized, not only were we forced to compete against men, the biological males here were given a preferential treatment over females. We were completely put on the back burner and sidelined. And that's when it hit me that, no one else is going to speak out about this. Like I said earlier, I'm just not someone who's scared. I'm not scared of this, cancel culture we kind of live in, because to me, it's common sense. And, thinking otherwise is defying that. It's defying science and logic and reason.